Product placement is a fundamental reality of modern blockbusters, and for the live-action Transformers franchise, it's practically woven into the DNA of the films. A brand pays for exposure, a vehicle gets a pristine slow-motion hero shot, and then it's thrown right in the middle of a chaotic explosive action sequence. For director Michael Bay, this corporate alliance was perfected through a massive symbiotic partnership with General Motors. Bay already had a long history of directing commercials for the Detroit auto giant. So when it came time to bring the Autobots to life in 2007, partnering with GM was a natural fit. For the filmmakers, this alliance was a massive financial lifesaver. You see, financing a car-centric blockbuster entirely on a studio budget is nearly impossible, but GM essentially bankrolled the movie's automotive footprint. They provided the official design backing and clearance for the hero vehicles meant to be the stars of the screen, while simultaneously shipping in a massive fleet of non-saleable, flood-damaged vehicles destined for destruction. In return for feeding Michael Bay's daily explosion food chain, GM received the ultimate global marketing platform. By transforming their upcoming lineup into heroic main characters, they were embedding their brand directly into the emotional core of what would go on to become a multi-billion-dollar franchise. It was perfect. Hollywood got an endless supply of free cars and co-promotional backing, while GM got a direct pipeline to future buyers. But most importantly, GM trusted the process. They gave Bay the freedom to let their cars get dirty, take heavy damage, and be the heroes entirely on his own terms. But while the Detroit giant was content to let a director play with their brand image, Transformers 3 introduced a very different kind of automotive titan, and they brought a radically different set of rules. You see, when pre-production began on Dark of the Moon in early October 2009, the production crew's immediate priority was to design dozens of robots right out the gate, pushing character personalities further than ever before. To make sure these designs actually registered with the audience, the goal was to introduce only a select few new Autobots and Decepticons, ensuring each one got a dedicated moment to make a real impression. For one of those highly coveted spots, Michael Bay had a vision that was entirely car-driven. It was incredibly important to him that a character in the film possessed the exact high-end personality of a Ferrari. And because of that, he absolutely wanted the physical car in the movie, and so the team selected the then brand new ultra-exclusive Ferrari 458 Italia as the character's alternate mode. With its aggressive stance and cutting-edge design, it was the perfect physical manifestation of the elite identity Bay wanted. But choosing a stunning vehicle was only half the battle. The character still needed a concrete foundation within the Transformers universe, and so to anchor this luxury sports car inside the narrative, the production crew dug into the franchise's deep mythology and chose to model the newcomer after the Autobot counterintelligence specialist Mirage. By November 3rd, 2009, this reimagined Mirage had already entered active design development. To keep the project under wraps, the crew assigned the character a temporary production codename, Rush. At this early stage, the character was shaping up to be a fateful reimagining of the original G1 counterintelligence specialist, with early drafts of the script fully embracing his ability to turn completely invisible and cloak surrounding objects. But behind the scenes, this creative freedom ran straight into a corporate brick wall. You see, while Hasbro naturally owned the rights to the Transformers brand, their chief competitor Mattel happened to hold the exclusive toy merchandising rights for Ferrari. This created an unprecedented corporate conflict of interest. Ferrari simply would not allow one of their flagship supercars to be named after a Hasbro property in one of the biggest movies of the year, a move that would directly undermine Mattel and potentially spark a massive legal nightmare for the automaker. To avoid a catastrophic contract dispute, Ferrari forced the filmmakers to completely drop the name Mirage, and by extension, barred them from using any name that was trademarked by Hasbro. This left the production team in a desperate need of a new, fresh, legally clear identity that still honored the car's premium heritage. To solve this, they first pivoted to the name Enzo, a direct reference to the legendary founder of the Italian automaker, Enzo Ferrari. However, this was eventually changed to Dino, shifting the tribute from the legendary founder to his late son. But locking down a legally distinct name was only the beginning. Ferrari maintained an incredibly tight grip on the character's presentation, mandating that they had to personally approve the voice actor. As Michael Bay later revealed at the time, the automaker was fiercely protective of its brand image. They explicitly demanded a performance that avoided cheesy Italian stereotypes, insisting instead on a sophisticated cadence that actually fit the prestige of the car. To deliver that exact gravitas, the production cast veteran actor Francesco Quinn. Quinn brought a natural commanding Italian authenticity to the recording booth, perfectly blending a fierce warrior mentality with the high society elegance Ferrari expected. Tragically, voicing Dino would mark Quinn's final cinematic performance. He passed away from a sudden heart attack shortly after the film's release, in the summer of 2011, leaving his performance as the sleek Crimson Autobot as a memorable final chapter to his career. Now, beyond the recording booth, Ferrari's protective oversight likely bled directly into the film's high-octane action sequences. During the movie's intense highway chase scene, Bumblebee and Sideswipe deploy their Stealth Force modes, a mid-transformation that allows them to sprout heavy weaponry and armor panels while remaining in vehicle form. Dino, on the other hand, fights entirely on his own terms. As the Decepticon Hatchet leaps through the air and bolts towards Sentinel Prime, Dino executes a flawless mid-chase transformation, digging his grapple hooks directly into the beast. Using his raw momentum, he expertly steers Hatchet right into the firing line of the other Autobots, before hurling the Decepticon into oncoming traffic to finish him off. But while this sequence showcases Dino's devastating close-quarters combat skills, it also highlights a glaring omission. Despite fighting bumper-to-bumper with Bumblebee and Sideswipe, Dino isn't shown having a Stealth Force mode. For years, fans have speculated that Ferrari completely barred the filmmakers from giving the character a weaponized car mode, as popping rocket launchers and gun barrels out of the bodywork would drastically alter the pristine silhouette of the 458 Italia. Now, this fan speculation carries a lot of merit when you look at how notoriously aggressive Ferrari is with its legal team regarding the visual integrity of their brand. Most famously, when electronic music producer deadmau5 modified his own personal Ferrari 458 with a custom Nyan Cat wrap and altered the iconic branding badges, Ferrari immediately hit him with a fierce cease and desist letter. The legal pressure forced him to completely strip the modifications and return the car to its factory appearance. So if Ferrari was willing to legally threaten a multi-millionaire musician just for putting a wrap on a car he rightfully paid for, it is entirely within character for them to dictate exactly how their flagship supercar could and couldn't look on a Hollywood movie screen. Now, this strict control over his vehicle mode led fans to speculate on another theory, that being that Ferrari completely banned Dino from using firearms altogether to keep the brand from being associated with gun violence. However, Dino's production history tells a different story. From his earliest concept art designs, Dino's identity was built around speed, agility, and his signature dual forearm blades, meaning his lack of firearms was not a corporate restriction, but merely a creative choice from day one. Now, another widespread rumor presented as fact is that Dino was originally slated to die during the Battle of Chicago, but a sudden mandate from Ferrari forced the filmmakers to keep him alive and kill off the Autobot Q instead. To date, there is absolutely zero evidence to back this claim up. In reality, production materials reveal that the crew had at least 3 completely different death scenes mapped out for Dino, across various different versions of the story. In the Dark of the Moon novelization, Starscream kills him when he's helping the humans escape a skyscraper, with Soundwave later using his severed head as a puppet to mock the captured Autobots. In the official movie adaptation comic, after the Autobots are rounded up, Soundwave ruthlessly rips Dino's head off to show everyone that they're not taking prisoners. Finally, an early animatic of that execution scene shows a Decepticon protoform simply gunning Dino down in cold blood while the others watch. Ultimately, the final film shifted this tragic fate to Q. While it's possible Ferrari requested that Dino survive the film, the narrative pivot to Q was likely a deliberate creative decision to maximize the emotional stakes. Unlike Dino, who was a hardened frontline combatant, Q was a defenseless inventor. Putting him in Dino's place completely changed the dynamic of the scene into something that felt like you're watching your own grandfather get gunned down. Today, more than a decade after the release of Dark of the Moon, Dino stands as a unique anomaly within the franchise. From losing his original G1 identity to having his voice heavily policed, he was truly a character shaped more by corporate contracts than creative whims. This legal battle still continues to impact the character even today. Because of Ferrari's deal with Mattel, Hasbro was unable to produce a completely screen-accurate toy of the character. Instead of a true Ferrari 458 Italia, Dino was forever forced to convert into a genericized placebo Ferrari sports car, ironically mimicking the same stylized workaround first used in the Dark of the Moon tie-in video game back in 2011. He might have not been the traditional Mirage fans expected, but the legal battle it took just to get him on screen makes him one of the most fascinating adaptations of the character.